As someone who's grown up with Daniel Craig's James Bond for her entire life, the entire time I have known of a James Bond, it has been Daniel Craig. No Time to Die is an incredibly bittersweet movie, and today we're going to review it. To me, No Time to Die is the perfect bow on Daniel Craig's tenure as James Bond. I think it connects a lot of his movies, which if you have not rewatched them in a while, I very much urge you to go back and rewatch at least Casino Royale and Spectre before seeing No Time to Die. Also, spoiler warning, I'll put a really heavy spoiler warning on the really heavy spoilers. If you've seen the movie, you know. But loose spoilers will kind of be going on throughout this video. But I personally love the fact that this feels so specific to this Bond and his journey as Bond. The number one thing that I love about this movie is it puts a perfect little neat bow on all of James Bond's villains. It perfectly wraps up Spectre as an organization, which obviously included a lot of his individual villains, such as Le Chiffre, my personal favorite, and then of course Javier Bardem's character from Skyfall, who I can't remember the name of, but I will put on the screen. I genuinely think getting to see all of these characters be connected to the next big bad, Saffin, which we'll get to in a little bit, and kind of have each of them essentially die off, I think is a perfect end to where there's no persisting evil from this Bond left. Like, he's done his job as a spy. Next, I think it is a fantastic way to start the movie off, and somewhat of how this movie was marketed, but we didn't even realize the full extent of the plot at the time. Connecting Madeline, James Bond's current love interest, to Vesper, his first true love. I think the connection to them, and especially in that opening scene, which is particularly strong in my opinion because of this personal connection, it shows what matters to this James Bond. That, like, multiple times we have seen Craig's Bond step away from MI6, step away from spy work, retire, try to disappear off the face of the map, and give it up specifically for the women in his life that he loves. Vesper, we see an entire montage at the end of Casino Royale of this life he has given up to be with her, that they've seemingly both sacrificed, and he is ultimately most betrayed not by the fact that his life is once again in danger at the end of Casino Royale, but the fact that it was his love of Vesper who put him in that position, who was a double agent. And we see that same emotion return at the beginning of No Time to Die with Madeline. Obviously, Casino Royale being his first Bond film really is what shows what motivates him as James Bond for the rest of his films, but this puts the perfect cap with Madeline. The difference is in how she acts compared to Vesper, yet how James sees them as one and the same. So I think No Time to Die in that way, with the specifics of the love interest, really does a great job of connecting the beginning of Craig's run as Bond as well as to his ending. I think that touch on him seeking love and connection and being willing to give up being a spy, and then how being a spy potentially ruins his relationship with them. And I think seeing the two be linked in this way has been such a good way to cap off his run as Bond. And then of course Felix, our favorite CIA agent within this world. Me seeing Jeffrey Wright's name be in something other than What If right now was just so exciting, and I completely forgot about Felix's character since it's been a while since I've rewatched Craig's Bond films. But I loved getting to see Felix, and I just love that Felix's inclusion in this story obviously is normal and natural since he's been in most of Bond's other films, but I think it once again shows the care and effort that I believe was put into this film to make it not only just a great send-off for Daniel Craig, but to really appreciate the people who have made up Craig's Bond's world and really give a good farewell to them. So not only was, I think, Felix's storyline in this movie and his inclusion such a nice addition, but I really loved the way that this movie was even able to close off the stories of Moneypenny, of Q, of Ray Fiennes M, all of that. I really loved that we just got to see these characters once again, and really, as much as we were saying goodbye to Craig as Bond, we were saying goodbye to these characters in their specific roles, seeing as a good number of them will likely be replaced. Now's when I'm gonna get into the most spoiler heavy portion of the review, so if you have not seen the movie, you have been warned. There are seriously heavy spoilers to how this film ends, to the major plot points of this film, so if you haven't seen it, click away. This is your last warning. Major spoilers ahead. So I want to start with Saffin, because Saffin, I think, is a way better villain than people are giving him credit for. Saffin's entire journey as a villain is about survival. He's the only remaining surviving member of his family. His connection to Madeline is because he saved her life, and he has a sick, twisted, love for her in that way. But he specifically creates these nanobot technologies because he wants to use them so that he can continue to be the surviving member of anything that goes on. He can be the person in control of who lives and dies, and he doesn't even like that so much in the fact of killing people the way Spectre villains may want to kill off specific good guys or bad guys, whoever they see fit. But Saffin wants the ability to control his own survival and continue to be that sole survivor, but in a situation that he has more control over rather than by chance that he is the only one that survives. To me, though, what I think people are missing, and I know people are trying to give Rami Malek his due, and some are saying he wasn't given as iconic of a performance as, say, Lashif in Casino Royale, but I personally think Saffin is great because of the way that he holds Bond's daughter. Now, in any of the scenes in the Toxic Garden, it's creepy because you're existing in this world, this laboratory, if you will, of death. Anything there could kill you. Breathing the wrong air, being injected with the nanobots, or touching the wrong plant could cause your demise. But when you bring a child into that situation who has a lack of self-control, is so much more susceptible to understanding what can harm them, it is an entirely different level. And the way that Rami Malek is able to portray the twisted love that Saffin has for Madeline, and in turn his daughter, in a very Snape type fashion. He also is not willing to protect the child at all costs, the way that Snape would protect Harry. Sorry to get another British reference in here, but I had to. The way that he shows her the flowers and doesn't stop her until the absolute last minute when Madeline gets involved before the little girl touches the flowers. That is what I think is so creepy about him as a villain, is that added threat of there being a child there. And that's what I think Craig's entire run as Bond has been about. It's been about the balance between James Bond, the 007 agent, and James Bond, the person, and introducing a child into that mix, a child from the one woman he loves, who he learns did not betray him, and seeing that child become the real threat. That is why I think this film has such a perfect conflict for Craig's Bond, and why I think it is such a great way to end things, is introducing James Bond's daughter. Gives him a reason not only just to live, but also a reason to die, because by the end of the film, when he is infected with the nanobots and realizes he'll never be able to be around Madeline or Mathilde, his daughter, that is when he is able to make the true hero sacrifice. And I think it is so brilliant that in a film where Bond is given a daughter, the first time I believe it's ever happened throughout the history of Bond, is also the only time James Bond has died. These two things are not mutually exclusive. You cannot have one without the other. If he has no daughter, there's no reason for James Bond to sacrifice himself and die. But if he doesn't die, there is no way he can just walk away from everything and have a daughter and a family. I think what is so brilliant about Craig's ending as Bond is that we've seen him walk away before. We've seen him retire many a times, go off the grid, and just refuse to be an MI6 agent anymore. And he always comes back whenever a threat too big or too strong comes around. He has survived death in Skyfall, essentially. And so the only reason that is good enough for him to die is that he can't be with the two people he loves most in the world. And I think that is so smart. If he just walked away and they were able to remove the nanobots from him, not only would it remove the stakes of the entire movie, couldn't you just have learned how to do that later and protected everyone? But if he were to simply walk away with his family, there would be a belief in the hearts of viewers that he could just come back, because it's been proven to have happened before within his own films. So that is why I think the ending is so brilliant. If you guys have seen No Time to Die, please let me know down below in the comments what you thought of it. What is your favorite Bond film? My favorite is still going to always be Casino Royale, because those poker scenes I absolutely love. However, this is definitely my second favorite Craig film. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Be sure to like it if you enjoyed my review of No Time to Die, and be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell because I make plenty of not only movie reviews but television show reviews, and I make lists recommending you brand new media to binge, so you are not going to want to miss being a part of this community or being notified anytime I upload a new video. Thank you all again so much for watching. Have an absolutely amazing day or night whenever you're getting to watch this, and I will see you in my very next video. Bye, y'all.